Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very insightful discussion on the upcoming budget, which is just around the corner. We have with us Devarsh Vakil, Deputy Head of Retail Research at HDFC Securities, joining us now to share his insights and subtle projections based on the upcoming union budget. Devarsh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anisha, thank you for having me.
So the budget's right around the corner. Let's dive into our discussion. What are the key themes or sectors that investors should be paying attention to?
Right, so this budget is going to focus on boosting the growth through economic activities. There will be continuous emphasis on infrastructure development, and several measures should be taken to increase the disposable income, which in turn will also aid the economic growth. Job creation, I think, is the key priority for this Modi 3.0 government, and hence we expect that higher allocation should be there on PLI schemes, which are labor intensive, and schemes like Manrega. The government has higher than expected transfer from RBI, and that would provide it additional about 1.25 trillion non-tax revenue. And we expect that overall about 1.4 trillion rupees is available for government to spend compared to the estimates of the interim budget. So this government is going to be comfortable in accommodating the various demands from various coalition partners. So there should be some populist measures, as well as they should be committed to spend on infrastructure and without compromising on fiscal consolidation. So I think there will be key opportunities for investors. There are several key areas which we believe will present a lot of opportunities for the investors, like infrastructure development, defense, railway, financialization of savings, consumptions. So all these sectors are likely to receive substantial support from the government in the upcoming budget.
All right, lots to look forward to. How do you see the economic initiatives impacting core sectors, especially healthcare, since you're saying that the government is kind of comfortable with buoyant tax receipts? Any particular focus on healthcare?
So I think this budget will have a huge emphasis on healthcare. It is poised to benefit significantly the healthcare sector. We expect that the enhanced digital infrastructure and spending will drive this growth. Government is going to, as they've indicated, they are going to spend about 2.5% of GDP on the increasing the spend on public healthcare. The Ayushman Bharat scheme, I think that is going to be the scheme which is going to attract a lot of government attention. Also, India is becoming a global leader in medical tourism. We need a lower cost finance for this industry, tax incentives. And I think government may provide about 10 to 15 years of tax holiday. Some viability gap funding is also essential to setting up hospitals in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So we expect a lot of initiatives, and government will encourage new investments into healthcare industry in this budget.
Devarsh, anything specific on the Ayushman Bharat scheme? Could the scope be widened? Because that will be a lot of, that will take a lot of fiscal might. If, because there is a demand that the middle class should also be included. Could that become a reality?
So I think they will try to increase the allocation in the budget. About the scheme allocation should go up to 2.5% of the GDP. And apart from that, I think they will provide a lot of tax incentives for entrepreneurs to establish healthcare facilities in the tier 2, tier 3 towns. So that will increase the overall availability of affordable healthcare in the country, and that should be the one of the focus areas of this budget.
Right. Now, infrastructure investments have always been a focal point. If you look at the last 10 years, infrastructure development has seen a lot of spending from the government. What are your predictions in this area for this budget? And why is the infrastructure sector important for investors? Amongst infrastructure, what should they be looking at? Should they be looking at road construction companies, real estate companies, railway companies, defense companies? What should they be watching out for?
Right. So government is expected to allocate significant funds towards the development of highways, railways, and urban infrastructure. We think that the government's plan for national infrastructure pipeline, the Gati Shakti master plan. All these are likely to get about 10 to 15% higher allocation compared to the last year. Similarly, we may see a lot of increased allocation towards higher budgetary allocations towards railway also. In railways, the dedicated uh, allocation towards the dedicated freight corridor and other government infrastructure schemes like Jal Jeevan Mission, high-speed railway, the bullet trains, smart cities, all these projects are likely to get good allocation. We expect that about 25% of the capex from the budget is going towards the infrastructure side. And that also, apart from the new higher allocation, we are expecting that government may start asset monetization, and about 55 to 60,000 crore will come from selling of these infrastructure assets to foreign investors as well. So a lot of emphasis are expected towards the infrastructure. For investors, this means that the opportunity in the construction companies, cement, steel, and the logistics firms are there. The why infrastructure is important, because infrastructure has a multiplier impact on driving the growth across the industries. So investors can look at infrastructure developers, construction contractors, where there are strong fundamentals. Stocks in engineering sector also look quite attractive to us.
Devarsh, could you also include companies that are into dredging or port building or even inland waterways?
Yes, so government has a plan as a part of its Gati Shakti master plan to integrate all the various modes of transport, and we expect that there will be higher allocation. In fact, government may also attempt to do the privatization of certain assets in this sector in order to increase the budgetary allocation.
Yes, but will that be a focus point? Asset monetization or divestment. Are you expecting a big mop up from here? Because your tax policy is good. You yourself said the government is pretty comfortable. But will that be a focus point?
So we don't expect any outright sale of assets. What government has been doing is that they are trying to improve the efficiency of this PSU companies and trying to make them more profit, and those profits are in turn generating a lot of dividends for the companies or for the government. So I think that trend should continue, but there will be some initial movement towards uh, NMDC Steel and Concor. These are the companies which they have already mentioned. The secretary has mentioned that eventually they would like to privatize. So I would I would expect some kind of mention towards privatization of these assets as well in this budget.
All right. Now, everybody, waits for the budget for the tax tinkering. So we want to turn to the tax reforms, because over the last 10 years, we haven't seen any big announcements coming in for individuals. Are you expecting any big announcement for individuals or even for businesses?
Yes, we do anticipate a revision in income tax slabs to provide relief to the middle class. That could involve increasing the basic exemption limit and adjusting the income threshold against various tax rates. If you remember, the deduction under limit section APC was last revised in 2014. So we are expecting that at least after a decade or so, considering the inflation and other expenses have gone up, we expect that the government should increase these tax slabs. Additionally, we may see upward revision in standard deduction for individuals. For companies, I think the tax compliance will also, government will try to encourage that, and we'll see some tax incentives for encouraging the sectors where there is labor intensive industries are there. Manufacturing industry, green energy, I'm expecting a lot of PLI schemes and tax incentives there for the industry as a whole.
Right. They were specifically for individuals. You're expecting some relief to come through, but the government has come out with this new taxation scheme. Do you think all the benefits will be only for those taxpayers who have gone in for the new taxation scheme, or if there is an increase in the standard deduction, etc., it will be for everybody?
I think it will be for everyone. The government will try to encourage that the more and more taxpayers do adopt the new scheme. But in order to encourage investors and encourage more compliance towards taxes, I think for timing they will continue with the both old and the new tax regime and give benefits for the both.
All right. Now, sectors, anything specific do you think coming up for the SMEs, especially on tax incentives, because they are being, stuck in a hard place. They have GST, squeezing them. And on the other side, not too much investment, work opportunities because large businesses take up a lot of room. Anything specific for smaller industries? Any specific tax exemption coming in there for SMEs?
So I think government is looking to increase support for the MSMEs, enhance support for the local manufacturing, and if we want to increase manufacturing in India, obviously the MSME is the bedrock of the manufacturing industry. So I'm expecting certain benefits, key manufacturing sectors like textiles, electronics, automotive components. There could be some rebate for taxation. And if you are in the MSME sector and if you want to do innovation or expand your market, there should be some attractive schemes should be given to that. Another focus area for MSME is the access to the funds because they are the players which are starved for capital, especially the working capital. So I'm expecting that the government should come out with some fund and encourage financial institutions to offer schemes where MSMEs can access to the lower cost funds, which will help them increase their turnover. So rather than just giving plain tax incentives, I think government may give funds towards increasing the innovation and access to the capital for smaller organizations.
So if investors had to play upon this, how could they do it? Could it be BFSIs which lend to these kind of companies? Will it be products of these companies? How can investors play any benefit if they can?
Right. So, as you mentioned, the large private sector banks and the public sector banks are a good way to play on growth of MSMEs because as these companies grow, their requirement for the financials will increase, and they will be able to financial companies will be able to lend to them. Other than that, there are smaller organizations which are once they reach certain threshold, they do come into exchanges in the form of small and medium enterprise SMEs IPOs. So if you are investors with a higher risk appetite, there are opportunities in that sector to invest for a longer term.
All right. Devarsh, clean energy is one where the government is being focused on. And, in another 5 years, we hit 2030, then we are going to, relook the targets that we have kept for adding renewable capacity and the commitments that we have made under the Paris Agreement. So let's explore the renewable energy space. What are your projections for this sector and how would you advise investors to play this?
So, government has a government has set a very ambitious target of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity by 2030. Now, a significant boost is required for the renewable sector if government wants to achieve that 500 gigawatt target. And that can be achieved through reforms like providing viability gap funding in many areas like offshore wind plants, solar energy, battery storage. So I think those kind of reforms are expected. Increasing the public-private partnership in this area, renewable energy area, is a crucial to support to achieve this goal. We expect that the government's national green hydrogen mission, there the budgetary allocation can go up substantially, and also hydropower sector can achieve can get a lot of government support. Additionally, providing incentives for the pump storage hydropower plants are also anticipated in this budget. So investors can play through. Investors can invest in this sector by investing in this green energy renewable areas directly in these stocks. Or there are some good mutual funds available which are focusing on the renewable energy sectors. If we are going to achieve this 500 gigawatt renewable energy target, then immense opportunities are still available in this sector.
Devarsh, could you elaborate a little more on how investors can play on this opportunity? Because it is a wide sector now. You have module manufacturers, you have power makers, you have in power makers also you'll have those exclusively having a huge solar park, while you have integrated players like say an NTPC that does conventional power as well as solar power. You have component suppliers, you have those who are doing only rooftop solar, you have companies, oil companies that are investing in hydrogen, and perhaps they'll be the first movers there. So how does one pick in this renewable space, which we all expect will grow and will see some incentives from the government as well?
Government has given a budgetary allocation specifically for rooftop solar installation. So the Suryodaya Yojana. So if you have a player in that which is growing well, you can choose that. Compressed biogas is also a very good area in this sector. Government is going to give a lot of incentives towards diversion of sugar towards ethanol. So if in fact we are also looking for opportunities on the ethanol and green hydrogen area. So if you are able to identify some good companies in ethanol distilleries or green hydrogen companies, then I think those are the ones we should actually look for. The integrated power players, which we know, they have actually run up a lot and their valuation are little stretched. So we will wait for opportunity. If there is any correction in this valuation, then those integrated power producers will make sense. For now, we'll stick to individual plays in the CBG or ethanol sector.
All right. How about manufacturing and MSMEs? What opportunities are you seeing here? Because we are trying to gain that logistical, that cutting edge, cost efficiency in logistics, so that we are globally competitive. So, what can we expect from manufacturing and MSMEs?
So, government is going to enhance the support for local manufacturing, and if you see, there are pain points at the bottom of the pyramid, the income pyramid. So, given this, government is going to give a lot of support for the rural sector. Is expected to announce a lot of schemes which will increase the allocation towards the agriculture side industries, textiles, component manufacturer, automotive component, and electronic components. So these are the pretty attractive opportunities we have. And also we are expecting that government will give some scheme where the access to the funds for these MSME industry is going to become little easier with the working capital loans and especially the capital subsidies. So all these are offering opportunities. If somebody wants to invest through these opportunities, the financials, the private sector banks, the public sector banks offer opportunity to play on MSMEs growth on India.
Devarsh, do you see an extension of the PLI schemes? Could newer sectors be included to encourage manufacturing in newer sectors through PLI? Because that has proved to be quite a success in, say, electronic components. We hope it will be a success for batteries, for solar. So, do you think more sectors could be included?
Yes, PLI scheme has been a good, great success for this government, and given what we are up against the manufacturing might of China, I think the Indian manufacturing industry do require such support from the government, where till they come up to the place where they can compete with the global industry, we required some kind of policy support. So a lot of areas where I expect them to come up with a new schemes. We have seen some of this PLI scheme being successful in mobile manufacturing, in this EMS space, the electronic manufacturing space. Similarly, we expect that government will come out with a new PLI schemes in pharmaceuticals, They will announce new incentives for healthcare infrastructure and also textiles. So these are the expectations from this budget.
All right. Devarsh, one area that I want to talk about is agriculture. Because the last government tried to bring in those agriculture reforms that finally got stalled because of the farmer protests. Now, should the budget be an occasion to talk about agricultural reforms? If not, what can be done for the agricultural sector? Because we have spoken about unemployment. Plus, we are seeing what is happening in our cities. The infrastructure is crumbling because there's a lot of migration happening. So could something be done for the rural economy so that becomes vibrant? Rural areas see more spending. That will again benefit consumer companies. Could anything be done there, even if there is no big bang reform announced?
So as you mentioned, there is pain at bottom of the income pyramid, and especially in the rural India. I think government is expected to focus on welfare schemes by increasing the allocation towards agriculture, job creation, rural housing, and other labor-intensive industries. So I think in order to for India to grow, we need higher income. Now, higher disposable income can come from growth, and while growth is there, there will be always some disparity. The income disparity is there, and in order to remain the way we have the social fabric, in order to preserve that, it is important that as the economic growth is happening, we should distribute the fruits of growth to all across the value chain, all across the income pyramid. So I expect, given the compulsion of the coalition government, this government to announce a lot of measures, especially some populist measure, which will have focus on welfare scheme. And fortunately, government has the non-tax revenue to pay for this kind of schemes. As we expect that about 1.4 trillion rupees of revenue collection, other than the estimate that the budget is available, government should come out with the schemes which will be considered little populist. But government has enough fiscal space to support that.
All right. So welfare has its own space. But beyond welfare, can we expect something for agriculture and rural? Could be because the government has said that we have to improve agricultural efficiency. Unless we do that, it will not be attractive. And in the long term, people will not want to be in agriculture. So could we see something for seeds companies? Could we see something for pump companies? Could we see something in small irrigation projects in rural areas? And how can non-farming income be given a boost? Because everything, in rural areas is not farming. Could we expect, some sort of infrastructure / efficiency measures announcements in the budget for the rural sector?
I think government will focus on micro irrigation. I think that is the area where we can expect some kind of allocation. The increased allocation towards in rural infrastructure by increasing more allocation towards Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana. These are the schemes where if you allocate more resources, it directly benefits the rural India. So I do expect that, and also government is also going to spend a lot of money on infrastructure, the Jal Jeevan Mission, and also the inland water development. All this money will go towards rural India, and that will help alleviate the stress which we have on rural India.
Right, they've actually covered the entire economy, and what could come out in the budget for everyone. Now, in conclusion, if you had to pick the top 3 bets as sectors, what would you suggest to investors? Say you have a limited capital, you want to invest something for the longer term, and you will take the budget as a starting point. Top 3 sectors that you would like to say investors should look at and look at finding gems in these sectors.
So 3 things I think will come out from this budget. Obviously, the government focus is the Viksit Bharat by 2047. 2047. So that means there will be a lot of focus on infrastructure development, defense, and railways. So that's the first theme. Second overarching theme is the financialization of savings. And as we are seeing more and more uh, investors uh, coming into the financial markets. So that is the second theme. For the longer term, one should focus. And obviously, as the income rises, the disposable income rises, the consumption and consumption related sectors will do well. So uh, the stocks or the companies who are focused on disposable income, the discretionary spending, I think these are the good bets to invest over the next 2 to 3 years.
All right. Thank you so much, Devarsh. One last question. Could there be anything negative, either for individuals or the markets or the capital markets? What would you definitely not want in the budget?
So there are, from time to time, there are some murmurs that the government may tinker with the capital gain structure. And if they increase the taxes on stock markets, I think that will be considered as a clear negative for the markets, and market may react negatively in the short term if there are any increase in the taxation on dividend or on capital gains. So I clearly want that government do not tinker with any taxes on the capital gains, and that if they leave it like that, what they have, and that should suffice for the markets.
All right. Let's hope no feathers are ruffled in the budget speech this time, and it's all good news for everybody. The biggest sectors or the most crucial sectors that Devarsh is watching out, of course, is infrastructure. The themes that he's watching out are infrastructure, greater financialization, and increase in consumption as income levels increase. Thank you so much for joining us there, Devarsh. I'm sure all those listening in have got lots of ideas, but you will have to do your own homework and to get a better understanding of what you should be investing in. Do visit the HDFC Sky website, get more information, more resources to be able to take the right bet and keep a track of all that is happening in the financial world. Thank you so much for joining us, Devarsh.
Thank you, Anish.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.